Alright, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening on International Family Day. It is such a pleasure to be able to speak to parents around the world that have joined our team of Global Kids Life Coaches, sharing our insights and our expertise with you. It is such a pleasure to be with you today. I am Monique Engelbrecht and I am at the Play Well, Live Well Kids Life Coaching Studio. And today I want to speak about the importance of having a routine in a child's life and keeping that routine in a co-parenting environment, and what to do if the other parent is not sticking to that routine, making life a little bit more difficult. So we all know that the benefits of having a routine in life. It gives us support, it anchors us, it gives us comfort. It helps with our sleep, it helps us eliminate bad habits. There's so many benefits to having a routine. So having a routine for your child is just as important, if not more. And before the divorce, a child has, was used to a certain way of life, was used to a certain way of doing things, and now everything's changed and it can be challenging for them to adapt to this new environment. But the good news is that children are the most resilient little beings, so they will be able to adapt just as well and with no problem, but with your support as well. Now, a child of divorce is going through a lot of emotions, has a lot of questions, and life as they knew it is simply just not the same anymore. So you want to make that adjustment for them, the adjustment to this new way of life, different homes, parents not together anymore. You want to make this adjustment as smooth as possible. And one way you can do this is to keep their daily routines the same between both homes. Now, of course, things aren't going to look 100% the same, but if you're sticking to the basics, brushing your teeth, bedtime routine, doing your homework, doing your chores, if you stick to the basics between the two homes, you're creating a familiar structure for your child, something that can anchor them, something that they can find comfort in, that familiarity that they will appreciate and know between the two different homes. But of course, it can be difficult to discuss this with your ex and to come to an agreement, because let's face it, you yourself are dealing with your own emotions. You're angry, you're hurt, you're upset, and I understand that. So it can be challenging to come to an agreement with your ex, but the first thing you need to do as parents is acknowledge that you are the adults and you are here to put your child's needs first. So what you can do is set up a regular time with your ex, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly, and treat it like a business meeting. Have an agenda if you must, and these are the topics you want to discuss, but then you stick to those topics. And when talking about your child with your ex, that is what you stick to. You stick to the agenda. This is not the time for you to speak about past issues or how this made you feel, how that made you feel. You are here to discuss your child, and that's what you stick to. So you remain calm, you remain relaxed, and then you discuss what you need to discuss during this business meeting with your ex. Now, when it comes to speaking about the routine that your child has to follow at both homes, one thing that you can do is perhaps decide on certain tasks that your child needs to do at both homes. So homework, chores, whatever it is, you can agree to the same type of tasks to do, but not necessarily how these tasks are carried out. Perhaps your child won't do homework at the time that you want them to, or they'll do less chores at the other house. It's not the end of the world. What is most important is that your child is still doing homework, is still doing some chores, is still sticking to their bedtime routine. Things are kept as close to what the child is used to. That is most important. So you need to also be flexible and understand that things will be different. So don't try and control everything at the other parent's house. You don't live there, so it might not be practical for the other parent to do things the way you want the task carried out. Perhaps they have different jobs with different demands, or perhaps they just have a different parenting style. So be more flexible when it comes to this. So when discussing this routine, one thing that can help is create a routine chart and pictures on it that your child can also easily follow. So in this business meeting, you discuss the types of tasks that your child needs to complete at the different homes, and then have a little picture icon for it that your child can follow, and then laminate it and put it in the child's room at both the mom and dad's house. So when your child is following this routine at mom's house, they know, okay, that's what I do then, there, and there. And then they go to dad's house and they see, yes, I know, I need to do this, this, and this. It might look differently, but it's still the same types of tasks. So what this also can do is it can help eliminate the conflict as well, because children very often, they might come to mom and say, yeah, but mom doesn't let me do that, or dad says I can do this. You know, they might play the one up on the other. But what you can do is refer to that routine chart and say, well, this is what you agreed to. And so you made the routine chart for mom, dad, and child to refer to, so that everyone agrees. Yes, it might look differently, but homework is still homework, chores are still chores. So they're still sticking to the same types of things. I remember my mom made a laminated chart for me as well when I was young, and I had photos of when I needed to brush my teeth, make cereal, what else was there, making my bed, clean up my room, and I had to put stars on each icon that I had. And eventually the stars got a little bit expensive, so I started drawing the stars myself on the icons, and I actually felt quite proud. I felt, oh, look at me, you know, I put my star on my chart, I completed my task. And I was a very messy child. My room was always a mess, my cupboard was a mess, and my mom and I had endless fights over this. So when she brought this routine chart in, I knew that's what I had to do, and eventually I got so used to it and I got so proud. I would actually blindfold my mom and lure her into my room, and, you know, for the big reveal, look at me, I cleaned my room. I was so proud of it. And this routine just so became a way of life, and it also helped my mom. We spoke about it the other night, where she said that, you know, she could easily squeeze in a late Saturday morning sleep because she knew I'd get up, I'd make my breakfast, I'd have a bath, I'd brush my teeth, I'd make my bed, I'd do all of those things without her nagging. So I knew I had a set way of life when I was by my mom. And what helped is that when I started visiting my father every second weekend, I could easily carry on by myself. A lot of mornings my father would have to leave early. I wouldn't see him, we'd have to head off to the factory, and then no one was there, you know, to make my breakfast, or tell me to make my bed, or tell me to stick to this routine. But because it was already so part of my life, it was easy for me. I would get up on my own, make my cereal, have a bath, I'd carry on as normal. And a lot of times if they had to go out, like Saturday nights, and they had to go to their friend's house or attend an event, then I was left with my stepbrothers. They were much older than me, but sometimes they didn't make dinner. So they're like, okay, well, what do I do now? You know, but because I was already so used to, I knew I had to eat, I knew I had to bath, I'm already used to doing these things. It was easy for me to just take care and carry on my own. Because I was also used to, at my mom's house, packing my school bag for the next day, it was easier for me to, at my dad's house, pack all my things back so that I didn't go back to my mom and forget everything and start a fight about that as well. So everything was already done. I would go home the next day and everything was fine. And, you know, having this routine in place, I think also helped with the parents. I don't think they ever communicated. I think the most they spoke was, I'll be fetching Monique this time and I'll be dropping her off then. Cool, thanks. You know, they never fought between each other saying, she must do this, she must do that. It was already part of me. I was already used to doing it. So I think what the most important thing would be is to focus how your child is when they are in your care. How is their routine at your house? You know, focus more on that. Don't try and control everything at the other parent's house. As I said, be more flexible because it's either not practical or you know, they may have a different parenting style. But also, if the other parent is really not sticking to things, then you can perhaps bring this up in your next business meeting. put it on the agenda and calmly bring it up. But when you do speak about it, perhaps make more suggestions rather than demands. So you can say to your ex, well, I've noticed that our child wakes up better in the mornings when they go to bed at this time, or would you be willing to, or perhaps it would be nice or better if we do it this way. You know, make suggestions, remain calm, don't demand too much, and most importantly, do not rant and rave to your child about how you feel when your ex is not sticking to this routine. Your child's not your life coach. You're there to support your child and put routine in place for them. So you need to remain calm, you need to be flexible and focus more on how your child is at your house. But having a routine chart that your child can easily follow at both homes, it will give your child that stability, that foundation, because as I said in the beginning, that routine, it anchors us, it gives us comfort. So in your child's life, where everything's changed, everything's different, things aren't the way that they used to, they have something that can put that foundation in place, and they have that security. And also you're teaching them independence. You're teaching them that pride and that self-discipline. So eventually you will start worrying less about what's happening there, because you know your child will carry on as normal. They are already used to a certain way of doing things. So I hope it will help putting a routine chart in. Well, I trust that it will. It helped me a lot when I used to go visit my father as well. So yes, put it in place and see how it goes. Remember those business meetings, put your things on the agenda, stick to the topic, and your co-parent environment can be much more successful. Thanks for joining, everyone.